1. This is a tale, but also an excuse to rant a little bit at the end. So, my beautiful people, this literally just happened earlier, and let me tell you, in the last 2 weeks we've had roaming hordes of homeless, much like the zombie apocalypse. So we start with me, having clocked in around 30 minutes ago, plinking into the computer and reading some reviews, which I'll get to later, when I see a woman, rotund with badly maintained makeup, step into our breezeway and to our door. I, eager to get my last check-in, ask if they have a reservation, which they confirm, but before I can confirm their name, I accidentally open the door. Yay! Story time. Good evening, how can I help you?
Hi, I'd like to make a reservation.
I'm sorry, ma'am. We are not taking reservations at this time.
Oh no, you see, I stayed here when you guys first opened, and let's just say there were a few little, she air-quoted here, problems, and your manager gave me a voucher for a free night.
I drop all forms of mask and speak in the most monotone I'll beat your ass voice, real quiet. Ma'am, we don't do that here.
Oh no, you see, ma'am?
We either refund your current stay or take a portion of your bill off.
Well, this is when you just open.
When did we open, ma'am? I stare quietly, intently, already knowing the woman has no idea.
Sometime last year?
She stumbled way more than that. Ma'am, we opened this year. What was the name of the manager? It's on the wall right next to me.
Well, I have the voucher. It has all the information.
Ma'am, what was the name of the manager?
I have all the information.
Done making this woman panic at this point that I'm going to assault her. Please leave the building. Cue sounds of protest. I don't remember what she said. Please leave the building.
Fine, but I have a voucher. What's your name?
Street Blacksmith 467, ma'am.
Well, your customer service is awful, and I'll be talking to your manager.
Not if you can't name him, ma'am. Go try some hourly hotel. She scoffs and leaves the building, muttering a stream of curses. Now that the tale is done, I nightly go through our reports, and one here. The room next to us was extremely noisy until the early morning, and we got almost no sleep. This is one of them. Firstly, I worked the entire week this guest was here. Never once did I receive a phone call of a noise complaint. If you don't call, we can't do anything. It's a general rule that unless there's a reason to, don't go to guest floors. Another one. I miss the little things I expected of Mampton before COVID. I miss the cookies in the evening and the USA Today. Excuse me, is this Grandma's bed and breakfast? Cookies? This is a hotel, my guy. You get breakfast, coffee, tea, all that for free, and oh, sorry, we don't carry your favorite newspaper. Did you know there's a little thing called the fucking internet? This is day 7 of 10. I normally work 4-3. It's starting to get to me. As always, have a lovely night, your friendly, local night auditor. 2. For some backstory. Our hotel has a high turnover rate for employees, including GMs. So front desk employees had no prior experience and never got fully trained. Instead, they would be thrown out to work the desk after training for barely a week with only training videos for guidance. I am the only person who received training from the previous staff before they all quit, and I got promoted to supervisor. For this story, I'll be calling our system Op. This happened about a week and a half ago. We had some guests staying in 2 rooms. The person whose name was on the reservation, Calliope, never actually checked in, but the reservation had an accompanying guest who we'll call Donovan, who checked into the room. In hindsight, we shouldn't have been checking accompanying guests in without any authorizations, but our GM always said it was okay, as long as their name was on the res. It's checkout time on Monday. I'm calling guest rooms to inform them that it's time to go. I get to Donovan's rooms and tell them they need to check out. Room 1 says they're extending, but Room 2 says they're leaving, then calls back to extend. Okay. I authorize Room 1 for another night, but Room 2's card declines. Shit. I contact them about this. They ask if we can have the card on Room 1 pay for Room 2. But Op is complicated. and has no clear way to do this, so I tell them no. I need a card, to which they'll say they'll bring another form of payment. The day goes by and they don't come. I see Donovan on his way out and tell him he needs to bring a new payment method, and he says he will when he comes back. I tell the next shift, who is the assistant manager, to call them and ask for payment, which they never did. I come in on Tuesday. Once again, they ask to extend. Unfortunately for them, I don't have their rooms for tonight, nor the payment they promised, so I told them they need to bring a form of payment. At this point, they ask for a new room and to transfer their charges. I tell them in order to do this, I need them to pay what they owe, and they have until 1 p.m. to do so if they are switching rooms. They say okay. Time passes. It's almost 1, so I'm watching our security cameras to make sure they're coming down. I see Donovan walk in, so I'm under the impression he's getting his group together to move rooms. I see them leaving the room and receive a spam call, which I look back at the cameras. I don't see them anywhere. Confused, I go back through the camera footage to find out they went out a side door. In my dismay, I let the managers know what happened. I tried calling the original person on the reservation. The number isn't in service. Unfortunately, they didn't put the information of any accompanying guests in our system. Basically, we have nothing to go on other than trying to make a house account for them. The one thing I did manage to obtain was their license plates from the camera footage because they happened to drive the wrong way in the parking lot. The way that had the only outdoor camera. Fast forward to this week. I saw Donovan get off the elevator and try to hide his face like I didn't see him a week ago. I check our house guests and op. This time Donovan checked in under his own name. I check the security camera footage to find out when they checked in, only to find out the reservation was made over the phone, and the person at the desk checked them in before arrival, which is something we never do. And on his arrival, they didn't check his ID or credit card because they were too busy FaceTiming friends. I contact my GM, and we charge the full amount of their stay to cover the costs of Donovan's previous stay, as well as a $500 smoking fee for last week and this week because their rooms reeked of the devil's lettuce. And then we kick them out. So satisfying. 3. This particular day, I was training a new night auditor, and all was well. The restaurant and bar was busy that night, but it all quieted down near midnight. At approximately 1:30, I receive a noise complaint for a guest, stating that they are hearing what sounds like crying, vomiting, and slamming doors coming from their room. Great, I thought. This will give me a good opportunity to show my trainee what to do when we receive a noise complaint. I relay the information to our security, who has unfortunately been coming in to work drunk, and ask for them to knock on the door. We take noise complaints very seriously and don't bother calling ahead of time, since, well, they're already awake. Thinking this is over and done with, I return to my routine of watching phone until it's time to actually do the audit. We don't start till 3 in the morning, but I hear security state that he is not receiving a response from the guest. Knowing him, I doubted that he even knocked, and proceeded to inform him that we, myself and the trainee, will head up and take a look. We arrive, and due to the experience I've gained through my 8 months at this hotel, knock as loudly as my 5'8", 20-year-old body can, and ask loudly if they can answer the door. I am met by silence. But upon closer inspection, hear the shower running and no other shenanigans occurring. I tell the trainee and security that it seems like they've quieted down, and that if we receive another complaint we will come back up. The 3 of us head back to the front desk, and I, again, begin watching my phone intensely, waiting to start the audit. 15 minutes pass and we receive another noise complaint from the same room. As before, myself, the trainee, and security guard head up, and I, again, knock very loudly to no response. At this point, my spidey senses, if you will, begin tingling, and I follow with, "If you do not answer the door, we will be forced to call emergency responders to ensure everything is all right." Again, no response, which is a big red flag. I call the front desk manager and state that we may need to call emergency services for this guest, and he gives me the all-clear to enter the room beforehand. I expected this, and had already made a key and called for security to witness me enter the room, as I have no clue what is happening and I am of the opposite sex of the guest. I inform my trainee to stay at the desk as I don't know how long this will take, and we, security and I, head up with the latch tool. To all those who have not worked in a hotel and only lurk, yes, we have a tool to open latches from outside the room. I again knock to no response. I unlock the door and am greeted by the latch, to which I then yell into the room, "Ma'am, can you please come to the door?" Nothing. At this point, my spidey senses are full throttle, and I'm expecting the worst. We undo the latch and open the door. Oh no. The moment I enter the room, I glance over to the shower, which is still on, and see legs on the floor. I immediately yell at security to call for 911 and throw my jacket on the ground. Security grabs his radio and says, "Security to front desk, call 911. I yell at him, "No, grab your fucking phone and call the fucking police right now!" And I get to work. The guest is on their back, face up, in the shower with it still running, choking and wheezing, with what can only be described as semi-coagulated blooded vomit around her and around the shower. I ask very loudly, "Are you okay, ma'am?" To no response. I then ask, "Do you need help?" Very loudly, and am greeted by, again, nothing. She's unresponsive. I shut off the shower and drop to my knee to check her pulse. Thank the stars she's still alive. I roll her into the recovery position and place my finger back on her carotid artery to maintain feeling of her pulse in case CPR is necessary, while keeping security out of the bathroom as to do my best to protect her privacy. I give him my information to relay to the dispatcher. Now the waiting game, which consisted of checking the person's pulse and breathing while waiting for a professional to take over, and me trying to calm myself down as I was beginning to have a panic attack due to the time I was assaulted on shift a few months back. The police arrived at the room with my trainee, whom I promptly sent back down to the front desk, as I didn't want more people to be in this small room. And while one tagged me out, as he phrased it, the other began searching the room. I joined him in searching the room, where we found significantly more blooded vomit, as well as prescription medication, multiple empty wine bottles, and a loaded firearm. I began taking pictures of these items and the room for any potential legal purposes, while we waited for an ambulance to arrive. This took, and I'm not exaggerating, 30 minutes. And all we, the two police officers, security, and myself could do was listen to this person struggle to breathe and choke, all while praying that this person doesn't pass away. The ambulance finally arrived, and they were able to place her on the gurney, and took off just as quickly as it arrived. The police left with them, bringing the firearm with for safety purposes. I called the front desk manager and informed him of what transpired, and afterwards went home to shower and change as I was covered with blooded vomit. When I returned, the police had returned to gather statements from me, my trainee, and security about all that had happened, and also gave me the case number to pass along to my manager and the general manager, and they also informed me that she is doing all right and should be okay. At this point, it was approximately 3:30, and it was time to begin night audit training. 4. I am surrounded by intellectuals and scholars, let me tell you. Late last year, my GSMs at my hotel were told to use this online animation software. It costs the company something like $40 a month to use. For what reason, I could not tell you why. There is no drawing involved, it's all drag and drop from a limited selection of characters who just move around in really awkward and jagged ways, really. Our assignment is to use the animation website to create a new customer service training program for our hotel. The training program is to consist of 14 2-minute clips depicting various scenarios at the front desk. We were specifically told to record our own voices for the assignment. This directly contradicted upper management's wishes, but I jumped at the opportunity just to have something good for my portfolio and resume. I was really excited for this project. We've been expected to work on videos during our downtime at work throughout the past few weeks. Outside that, we've been told we have to finish the projects on our own time. We've been short-staffed because everyone has COVID, so both of us have only been able to work on the project in our free time. The other GSM and I decided to split the workload. It was a big job after all. He's really fascinated with this animation website. He can't stay off of it. But he's been making these other cartoons instead. His show has some pretty bizarre characters, such as a talking gorilla who works the front desk, and another character based on the owner of our hotel. One of the episodes involved other characters camping out inside his asshole. The animation website has text-to-speech option with no filter, so you can virtually write whatever you want in the text box. Likewise, the characters in these cartoons say some pretty vulgar things, usually involving feces and things they want to do with it, and to each other. A few years ago, I would have had a really good laugh over this, but seriously, he's made so many episodes of his show with the time he was supposed to be working on the training program, it's infuriating. Every day, sometimes twice a day, he texts me all excited and is like, "Dude, I have a new cartoon made. You gotta see it. It's the best one yet." I'm just over it. I've only managed to complete 6 of the 14 training videos with my limited free time outside of work, and the project is supposed to be done Wednesday. I know I won't get in trouble when I tell my supervisors what happened, but damn, I really wanted this for my resume. I'm going to ask for designated time at work to complete the videos, but other than that, I'm not even going to mess with it. I mean, is it even worth it at this point? 5. Earlier this evening, I, manager on duty, alongside one of my newest GSAs, were vibing and holding down the fort, if you will. Lately, with staffing shortages, we've had to task our PM houseman to clean up any rooms that AM housekeeping could not clean. Since our houseman was cleaning rooms this evening, I tasked myself to deliver guest items on top of trying to finish EOY, payroll, invoices, etc. My GSA has been with us for about 6 months now and very much capable of running a PM shift with little MOD assistance. Today was no exception, since we had a little under 32 arrivals between the two of us. I told him the ship was his to sail. At around 7 p.m., I stepped off the desk to deliver a handful of items, when I get a call on the radio to come assist at the desk. I made my way down, and there was met by an irate man saying he was placed in a king when he booked a 2-queen room. I saw the confirmation, and he clearly did book a 2-queen room. Housekeeping didn't finish all their doubles, so I was hoping a mistake had been made by the booking company. I looked at the name, and noticed there were 2 guests with identical last names, unique last names I might add, so I asked if they were traveling with another party, to which he responded, "Yes, our cousins are here." It didn't take long to put 2 and 2 together, and I owned up to a mistake being made and said, "It looks like we gave your cousin your room and you have theirs." I noticed that it had been about 5 minutes since both parties checked in, because they were traveling together. I looked at the couple and said, "I'm sure we can ask your cousins to switch rooms, since you both just checked in." Then the wife lost it and said, "Clearly you don't know what you're doing. Why don't you call them and ask since you fucked up, for God's sake? We're tired and we left our children stranded up on a floor with our luggage to come deal with this." The husband then chimes in with, "This is a terrible start. Worst experience ever. Where do I file a complaint?" I pause and let a flood of thoughts go through my head, starting with 1, your children are not stranded, they have access to you. All they have to do is take a lift down to lobby level. 2, you're grown people capable of making decisions. And you choose to leave your children unsupervised. Don't displace your negligence on me. 3, we can remedy this right away. No need to file a complaint, and if you do, it just comes back to me. I looked at the guy and said, "Sir, we can remedy this right away. Again, I apologize for our oversight. Let me call your cousins and explain to them what happened. I will give them a complimentary upgrade." I called the cousins, and they were a complete 180 to this couple. They even got a laugh and said, "We were wondering why we had 2 beds instead of 1. They were also appreciative of the upgrade. I proceeded to tell the couple this, and the wife immediately demanded her new keys, which I happily handed her. But then the husband made such a repulsive remark, one that I did not appreciate. He said, "How does he even have a job? He shouldn't work here." I saw my GSA becoming upset and stepping away. I looked at the man and told him firmly, "Sir, we already apologized and owned up to our mistake. They do happen. We all make them. It's part of learning and growing. Now, if there's nothing further I can do for you, you may proceed to your room. I'm sure your children are waiting." Off they went, entitled and grumpy as can be, mumbling terrible and nodding their heads. Moments later, I approached my GSA and asked if he was okay. He turned red and realized his mistake. I coached him on the best practices and got him off the desk for the next hour so he could reflect and deliver guest requests. At the end of his shift, he was in better spirits. Not only did the time away help him clear his head, but the guests he delivered items for were generous and kind. He walked away with a box of chocolates and $20 in tips. I told him not to take the guy's comments to heart. Mistakes are opportunities to grow. The couple was being dramatic, and if I could get away with it, I would have told him to kiss my ass. Just another day as an MOD. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Coahw, episode 80. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. If you enjoyed the video, then please do share it around with anyone you possibly can. And if you haven't done so already, please do like, subscribe, and comment. Alrighty, we've actually got a couple of birthday shoutouts to do today. I think we've got a two first, so let's see. Right, first one goes to... Nope, not that one, done that one. Okay, first one goes to Joan. Joan says she's nearing the half-century mark. Very happy birthday to you, Joan. And the second goes to Lilani, I believe. Let me just double-check that. I did have it here a second ago. Yes, it does. It goes to Lilani. Okay, and Lilani is 23 today. Well, whatever you guys are doing, you're making sure you take time to pamper yourselves, if no one else is pampering you. Although I hope someone else is doing some pampering as well, always. But don't just take care of yourself on your birthday. Make sure you're doing it every other day of the year as well. But you get to splurge a little more on your birthday, of course. Alright, now, before we go, I would, of course, like to sing the birthday song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joan. Dear Lilani. Happy birthday to you. Alrighty, and I think we'll wrap things up there for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.